What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Live with Lauren and Bryan. Hope everybody's doing well.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful, babe. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing outstanding today.
Oh, really?
Why not?
Every day.
You know, it's very Pisces today.
Yes.
Felt very Pisces. Saturn's in Pisces now, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like, I don't know, in some ways like we let off the gas pedal a little bit. A lot of Pisces in the chart, getting ready for Aries season. I don't know, I kind of feel that way, like, okay, can throttle back
the gas
a little
pedal.
bit. I'm also deep in my own 12th house
like
right now, so
like...
I'm like, I'll throttle up when I need to throttle up, and I'm not going to force it, you know. So.
I mean, I'm just like in the depths of the unconscious. And Saturn on my descendant, no, bring it on.
Yeah, not quite there yet, almost.
No, that's what the pattern app says.
Good luck to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it says that if relationships are in alignment, that it just, solidifies them more.
Yeah, absolutely. Saturn and Venus get along really well, for the most part. I mean, it can be hard with a square, but they do seem to get along, and Saturn likes to be in the 7th house. You know, it's an exalted house for Saturn, so
yeah,
it's not all bad. Kind of like...
No, it just gives you lots of...
Yeah, it takes you up to that next place in your relationships.
Yeah.
And if they suck and they're not right for you, you get to,
They're not in alignment.
Figure that out and get out. And if they're in alignment, then they're balanced and they're in harmony.
Yeah, I mean... At this point in my journey of almost 42 years, right, if people want to be in your life, they want to be in your life. And if they don't, they don't.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth?
It's all divinely orchestrated, right? It's all predestined. So, I mean, you always tell me I have no control.
No, I don't say that.
Yes, he
I say
does.
Let go and let God. You have control.
And hello, everybody. Hello, Cody, Bridget, Zena, Sandra, everybody in the chat. Hello.
Hello. You have control over what you do.
Yeah.
Your reactions.
Right.
Your boundaries.
Yeah, but
everything else, though, no.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I just have a very fated life that I'm finally coming to terms with that. And so whatever I have a very yachted life, you know.
Yes,
why they call it a finger of God?
You're just God's little puppet.
Exactly.
Which honestly, that would be actually rough for somebody with a Mercury in Aquarius in the 6th with the South Node and the ruler of your chart to try and understand that you don't have control over your life in reality and your particular sets of how you want to understand it. Wow, yeah, that is a conundrum, babe. Wishing you the best.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so for anybody out there that's got multiple yods, I feel ya.
I know she's got an exact one from Neptune, Pluto sextile, just boom, exact to her moon.
Yeah, to that moon,
Fun
that
stuff.
Taurus moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. A very fated life, Bridget. And, fate, I lead you to your destiny at some point. I could already be, though, that my destiny could be going back home.
I was, to
the 12th house.
I was doing a little research on Mr. Carl Jung.
Mm-hmm.
Or Jung. Is it Jung or Jung?
Young.
I was doing a little research because I'll be honest,
is right.
I don't know that. I haven't studied much of him, so I was kind of like, we were talking about this show, and I was like, well, I should probably learn a thing or two.
Babe, I have all the books. I bought his whole series of books, but I guess you don't.
You probably haven't seen me open a book ever, have you?
I know, but yet you have so many books, and you told
I have
me that
read books. In the last 6 months, not a lot of book reading.
Yeah, no,
I've been busy.
Twitching. He's been twitching.
Oh, that's rare. That's still rare. I haven't twitched in a week.
But maybe one day we'll do a whole thing on yachts. I mean, it's
Anyways.
Yeah.
Back
Carl
to where
Jung.
I was going with Carl
I know.
Jung,
Well, that's what people are asking.
Is that he had this philosophy that we are puppets of fate, but that humans are just naturally lazy. And the problem with being lazy...
Or they get very... I would say they get very comfortable in their south node, if you want to mean that
lazy,
they're lazy.
Whatever you want to look at it, however you want to, like, phrase that. It's because we have this intrinsic kind of urge to stay still, get comfortable, not push ourselves. That's when we become dragged along by fate, and it becomes very difficult. But if we keep moving and stay active and try and put our energy into things in life, we more or less we're moving ahead with fate rather than being prodded and pushed and shoved and feet scraping in the dirt, getting pushed by fate, and that's very uncomfortable. So I thought that was an interesting way to look at it, is that kind of the more lazy and resistant or hesitant you are, the more fate smacks you upside the head. Where if you're kind of just someone who is a go-getter, wants to go achieve something, do something with your life, or at least like feel like you're part of reality and contributing in some way, shape, or form, that fate isn't so harsh, if you will. That was one of the things I read about.
Yeah, I mean, he was all about the conscious and the unconscious. He is the one that, whether you want to call it coined synchronicity, he is the one that was saying how everything 3D people call synchronicity, like 3D, that is not, in their true self, they call everything a coincidence. When really, it's just synchronicity.
Yeah, that's what Jeffrey Wolf Green used to say.
Yeah.
Was that he would always joke when he was giving a lecture. He would be like, bring up some situation and the astrology behind it and be like, coincidence or synchronicity? And he was like, he's always hinting like synchronicity.
Even FBI people, detectives are like, nothing is a coincidence. It's like, right. I mean, it's not. So...
Yeah, if you believe in synchronicity, I think it would be very difficult to believe in coincidence.
Right. Yeah. Again, the 3D world calls it coincidence. The 5D calls it synchronicity. And yeah, of course, free will is, everybody does have free will. It is about how they show up and react to it. But when you're standing at that crossroads with Hecate, the goddess, the crossroads, and you're like, which way are you going to go when you have multiple yods? It's...
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I don't have any planetary yods, so I don't really know the feeling of that. I can interpretate them, but...
It's just like what David says. It's being a puppet on a string. And, it's faded from God. So... I guess I just have to surrender to that. I keep going back to this? What does Phil say? We're not going to say what does Bashar say. We're going to say what does Phil say.
What did Phil say?
Phil, what's his last?
Good. Phil
good.
Like feel good.
Feel good. He said that we are, guided by, non-dimensional, higher dimensional beings that we can't see. And so, but I'm so mercurial, I want to fucking know it all. I want to fucking figure it all out. I'm a detective. I'm like, what the fuck is this person's 12? Are all their planets in my 12th? Or this or that? Are they an enemy? Are they, yeah. But I have learned to I guess, let that go. Yeah.
Let go, let God.
And
do your investigations, but
maybe
at a certain point.
Maybe Carl Jung and Edgar Cayce come to me because they both have Taurus fucking moons. So, and Edgar Cayce is a Pisces, so I definitely can relate to him.
Edgar Cayce is like you, how
the
Pisces
sleeping
out
prophet.
He is. He has so much Pisces in his chart. I was like, holy shit! No wonder this guy was like this crazy channeler. Again, it's someone I really haven't studied or know much about. So luckily you do, and I'll look at the astrology.
She's saying that Carl Jung has a Libra moon. Is that true? His moon is in Taurus at 15 degrees. Where do you see that, Lana? What are you looking at in Libra? He's got Jupiter in Libra and the South Node.
This is the chart I have for Carl Jung.
Yeah.
which I pulled off astro.com, which was,
It was
C-rated.
Yeah, but it said that it had been rectified.
But even, I mean, that date of birth.
Oh God, if he had a Libra, I know, I'm going to say he had a Taurus moon. A Libra moon, he would have been obsessed with relationships.
Well, he did have a Libra South node.
Yeah.
So, something to consider.
Yeah.
So.
But we have the chart here pulled up.
In your investigations of this chart on Mr. Jung, what do you have that kind of jumps out to you? And if you'd like, I can throw more asteroid sets on.
Oh God, he's got his Eros, and not that this is like, I'm just noticing this because Eros is in Capricorn right now. He's got, if he was here, he'd be in his Eros return.
You know what's funny? I'm in my Eros return.
It's on your Mercury.
Eros is at 20. It's at 20. My Eros is 22 degrees. Eros is still at finishing up at 21.
Oh, yes.
I can pull up a better.
Yes.
This, and I do have an asteroid set with Eros that I can bring up.
I don't know. I mean, maybe if you've investigated lots of people, because let me tell you, that was one thing that when I investigated him long time ago, I was like, Taurus Moon crew. But, who knows? Either way, he's psychic as fuck. Okay, let's see. He's got a lot of 8th house energy is what pops out to me right away.
That was
a lot of 8th house.
That was something that all three of these charts that we're going to look at today, there was so much energy in the 8th and 9th house. And I think it's so interesting that they are all, talking about philosophy, spirituality, trying to go deeper into psychology, especially Carl Jung, right? Like, psychology was like the thing. I mean, back in his time, right? Would they call him an alienist?
Oh, totally.
Right?
Yes, you guys should all watch that show, The Alienist. Oh my God, it's so good.
It is good.
But yes, no, at 100%. Absolutely. Him and Sigmund Freud, because that was like his other, we should have done them together, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. He would be an alienist. That's what I feel like I am in this lifetime.
If you don't know why they called him an alienist, they called psychiatrists an alienist back then because...
in like the early 1900s, or late 1800s, 1900s.
Yeah, because people with very abnormal psyches or that would do these, crazy things or, a little psychotic or whatever, they were considered alienated from the general population.
Yeah.
So the people who studied these... psychopaths, another way, they were called alienists, and then that definitely
and the
changed
Anima,
but. And
Carl Jung was also very big on the Anima and the animus.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain that?
Well, it's no.
Okay, from my understanding,
it's like the Anima is. That's for what? No, I can't sit here. I don't even want to try to explain it and sound stupid, but it is like it's like it's
right,
like Lilith energy to me.
So my understanding of it is that the Anima is what comes out in the masculine or in males, and it's this repressed energy that has to do with femininity that could stem from a relationship with a mother. Past lives, there's something that
deep in the subconscious.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like pornography.
Like very that would be much so.
A very overactive anima in today's society is like an addiction to porn.
It's probably linked to sacral energy.
Yeah, and then the animus would be like in a woman. It's more they don't understand the masculine, or they want to be overly masculine. They want to be in charge. They want to call the shots. They want to define everything. They don't want to listen. To anything a man has to say, so that'd be kind of like the feminist revolution that we have today. Although I do think that, there's good things, of course, in that. I'm not putting it down, but it is that type of energy. That's my understanding of Anima, Animus.
The Anima and Animus are a we'll say synergy because that's an interesting word, of dualistic Jungian archetypes among the array of other animalistic parts within the self. in Jungian psychology described an analytical psychology and archetypal psychology under the umbrella of transpersonal psychology. And then it says, what is the difference between the animus and the anima? Terms introduced by, Jung. Anima names the feminine unconscious factor in a man, while animus applies to the corresponding masculine factor in a woman's unconsciousness.
Yeah, so I was on.
Right. And I watched I watched a good show. I don't know. On Netflix last year. It was called Dark Desires. Of course, I loved it. It was very like 50 Shades of Grey, but it was based in like Spain or Colombia or something. I don't know, subtitles, but and it was all about the anima and the animus. So it was very like esoteric, and yeah, I love all those wild shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
And their connection of this man and this woman, it was eros, psyche, insane. Like, they brought that out in each other. So, yeah. So he was obviously, like, yeah, big on that. And he also was very into, like, going into, right, the repressed trauma of, like, and he said that a lot of this has to do with their sexual fetishes. And it was very like sexual in nature, that when he was getting to the core of their unconscious of why their behaviors, it's because it's repressed like shadow. He was working with the shadow self,
Which
like unearthing that.
Seems to be the ticket. You
Yeah.
know, kind of have to go into that space, which is very 8th house.
Yeah.
I thought something about his chart was interesting is that he has his south and north node at 10 degrees of Libra and Aries. And he had his Mercury in Cancer at 13 degrees. So he had this, nodal square to his Mercury.
Right.
So, I think he was definitely fated to really understand people's minds.
And
the way
his
they
Mercury
thought.
in the 6th house.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he wanted to get to the bottom of it, and he wanted things to make sense, at least to him. So he did a lot of research, of course, so that he could do that work.
Yeah.
But I think it's just fitting because, it came from a place probably of trying to help people, 6th house, and also Cancer. Like, how can I help people get their minds right? How can I provide some service to figure out this emotional sort of philosophy, this connection, the feminine energy, the masculine energy? How can we come to this understanding? And of course he had to, probably because the North Node crossed his Mercury last before he was born, do his own sense of work, right? How it goes, like, oh, okay, I have to figure out my own animus problems.
Yeah.
Or,
I think he did through other people, though. Like, it was like healing him and uncovering things in him deeply by being an alienist to others.
Yeah, absolutely. So he uncovered a lot within himself, which helped him find this grounding, stable place of his values and who he was, which he then brought to that south node again. Because usually when you have a planet square the nodes, that planet hasn't been actualized. In the evolutionary process. So maybe in the past he just focused on others and not himself.
Right.
Or maybe he just focused on himself and not others. So this one he had to do both. He had to like fully actualize understanding his own, security, psychology, and then figure out how to go deeper into others and really get, okay, I got to figure this person out, got to figure that person out. How are they thinking? So yeah, relationships played a big part, and all the people that he worked with probably just kept evolving that for him, so that he could understand more for himself, but he could also bring that service to people as well.
Oh, and he's got his Chiron. Is that his Chiron in Libra? So he's he's obviously meant to be dealing with people.
No, he doesn't have Chiron in Libra.
Oh,
he has
what
Jupiter
is the
in
K?
Libra. That's Cassandra or Cleopatra.
Oh, it's Cleopatra. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, in the 8th. Oh.
Cleopatra. Seems to be a very good partner for Midas, apparently. We'll have to remember that for any kind of type of synastry we do again.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, his Chiron was actually...
Yeah, I'm like, oh, right there in Aries. Oh, he had Chiron in Aries. Gosh, he would be in his Chiron return, his Saturn return. Like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. Would have just finished up that. His Saturn's actually conjunct my moon.
Yeah.
He's got Saturn Pluto in a square, tight square.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting square because he probably repressed a lot when he was younger, and that was probably part of the work he had to do to kind of come out and represent himself, fully. And he probably had a hard time. He probably didn't really think he probably thought he was weird. He probably thought he was the weird one, the oddball out, and it probably took him until his Saturn return, which I don't really know his timeline.
Yeah.
But it probably took him until his Saturn return where he really felt confident to express these deeper psychological, especially with Pluto in the third and Mercury in the third.
I think it's better to like read the chart like we actually don't know the person. Like we don't know anything about him. Like what would you say looking at his chart that would activate his gifts, his abilities to be able to penetrate and to go deep and to...
Well, I think he always had that because he's got his South Node in the 8th. So I think, in terms of his evolution, he has been trying to go much, much deeper than surface level in all aspects of life. Definitely with people, understanding intimacy, sexuality, trust. How does trust work between partnerships? I think that he has just a lot of that already built in. And, and then I think you could tell, like, having Jupiter in the ninth is such a, like, natural philosopher.
Right.
Again, with people, Libra, like trying to understand other people's beliefs, how their mind's working, and in a Jupiterian way, which is much more abstract, much more, the weird, bigger, visionary, instead of just the mercurial stuff, which is more,
and he's Sun,
reading, writing, learning, speaking.
Sun opposite Saturn and Uranus opposite Saturn. Is that Uranus?
He has, he doesn't have an exact opposition with Saturn, but there is a sign opposition there. Which definitely could play. He had Saturn and Jupiter in trine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then
Jupiter, like exactly.
Jupiter opposite Chiron, which I have Jupiter opposite Chiron, actually. Which is an interesting one. It definitely...
When he had Neptune in the third, that's like the mind.
Yeah. That probably helped him channel a lot of...
He had Neptune moon.
The wisdom that he got. And that's really,
and Pluto.
With Pluto in the third, too.
Yeah.
He was a soul who's been, dialed into understanding truth.
His Pluto's almost to algal.
Right. Actually, at this time when he was born, I bet algal was probably 24 degrees, so he was Pluto algal.
Yeah.
So, also, it's interesting that he is Pluto Psyche conjunct.
Oh, yeah.
It's just interesting that we're, Psyche, of course, isn't necessarily a representation of our psyche, our psychology, but it does hold that name, which I think is interesting that was with Pluto, and that he had these deep desires to understand the value of someone's brain, how they thought, the collective unconscious. That was his big thing too, was really like the collective unconscious, which I do have which is like what Carl Jung's theory was.
Oh,
which was the collective unconscious. He believed that human beings are connected to each other and their ancestors through a shared set of experiences. We use this collective consciousness to give meaning to the world. And then the 4 personality types, which I thought were interesting, was extroversion versus introversion, sensation versus intuition, thinking versus feeling, and judging versus perceiving. That is quite interesting because that really is the battle between the 3rd and the 9th house.
Yeah.
Which is where his Jupiter is, which is where he's got a stacked 3rd house with Chiron there, with his moon, Pluto, Neptune. He has a lot of asteroids in the 9th, but it is just kind of Jupiter holding it down there.
Right.
But in a whole sign chart, his South Node would be in the 9th too, so worth considering that as well. I don't know. It's just such an interesting thing. I think that's his Chiron Jupiter really playing out.
Right.
All these linear, and even Pluto in the 3rd, all these linear ways, the thinking, just the the sensation of something,
and
the
it was at a
physicality
time
of
that
it.
nobody was doing this. Like I think that we have to like keep that in mind, that it wasn't, I mean, right, there wasn't like this, I mean, it's not that I wasn't going on, but he really was, like, him and Freud and all of that were like kind of on the forefront with it. And then of course and we're going to talk about Aliester, because he was during that time too.
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, all three of these men that we're speaking of were all born roughly around the same time.
And didn't we have a conversation about this, about like what was going on in the sky then? Like, was Neptune, it was like something Neptune or Uranus that we were talking about, and it was interesting with what was going on in the sky.
I think Neptune was discovered around 1875.
Yeah. And like all these people just like really esoteric. I think Madame Blavatsky, she was like way before that.
Oh, Neptune was discovered in 46. But yeah, that is an interesting thing. And I think Neptune was discovered before Uranus. No, they used a telescope. Mm-hmm. I should have these memorized, but I don't.
1781, Uranus.
Yeah. So it's interesting having Uranus and Neptune discovered, and then 20 years later, like kind of having, Pluto probably move signs since it started to move faster through the signs. It probably did bring something to the collective consciousness that was just going further out there.
Yeah.
Which is why, David even made a prediction we might have a new planet get discovered because our consciousness is going even further out there. Mm-hmm. Very something to consider. Definitely a possibility.
Yeah, why can't there be? I mean, if all of these, Cody, I love her. We will do her at some point. If they were if Pluto wasn't discovered until what was it? Like 30s, 20s, 40s?
I believe it
it's
was
like,
the
then
30s.
Why can't something else be discovered, I mean, why is that so crazy? And especially with Pluto going into Aquarius.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think that could definitely play a role in it. I mean, this isn't too far along after Neptune went through Pisces. Mm-hmm. Like if you think about 1875, like Neptune was probably in Pisces 25 years prior. Mm-hmm. And, I just feel like whenever Neptune does complete a cycle and come through Pisces again, mm-hmm. which coincidentally was around when we found Neptune.
Yeah.
In Pisces, but our consciousness takes leaps and bounds, which is what we're going through now.
Yeah.
As a collective. So like that, and then identifying that consciousness, getting, more empowered by it, and then really seeing the value in it. And that would be something powerful about having Neptune in Taurus natally is, this very strong, sturdy intuition of value.
Right.
But also, could have issues with money, not paying attention.
Right. Well, I think a lot of, I don't know, other, whether psychology or people that were into the occult or esoteric or whatever they did, a lot of them had Pluto and Taurus. I'm not sure about Neptune, but Pluto. And so, it's just that whole time.
Yeah, it does take a minute for Pluto to go through Taurus. It's one of the longest signs.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I love them too, Cody. He's a Virgo, she's an Aquarius. Yeah, they're wild.
I don't know.
Yes, you do. When we were at the haunted thing, the chair is how
okay.
They were, they're a vibe for sure.
He had a very strong chart.
That whole movie, Conjuring, is about them.
He had his scores, right? He had a exalted moon, which was also in a mutual reception with Venus. Mm-hmm. Which is outstanding.
Yeah, because
he had Venus in sextile. He had Venus in Cancer.
Oh, theirs is Venus. I was like, what?
Sextile his moon in exalted and in Libra's home. He had such a strong moon, Venus, and his sun was dignified. I mean, he is the definition of an exalted being. Mm-hmm. Mercury got a +3 in this chart. Like his Jupiter is the only thing that's like not getting a great score.
Right, and even it being in its home sign,
But
but
it does
or
get
its
bumped.
home
It does get
house.
bumped up in that house.
Yeah.
And then, oh, I'm sorry, that's his Mars. Jupiter's a +1.
Oh, okay.
Which his Mars is interesting because it's in Sagittarius.
Yeah,
so
it's
that kind of
almost to
brings
the
more of that
galactic
ninth
center.
house energy. And just, kept him like, and he talked a lot about being optimistic. From what I saw too, is that, the more you go through life and you can, just be positive and optimistic, the better things get. But when you embed your psychology with negativity and bring yourself down and really like, just throw a pity party for yourself all the time,
Yeah.
that you just absolutely destroy your psyche.
Of course, yes, of course.
So a Mars like this, Mars would be like in Sag, like, which I have Mars in Sag. Like, I'm always trying to see the positive in things. I'm like, well, you know what? That kind of sucks, but, well, look, it's going to, there's a bigger reason for why, there's more to it, We got to just see it play out. We're still on the journey. So he did kind of have that.
And your Sun in Neptune wants to think that everybody's just loving life.
I don't think that for 1 second. But nice try.
Or, I guess.
I will give people the benefit of the doubt and say they're on their own journey.
Yeah.
But no, I don't.
Right.
I'm very aware that
What
there
is
are
that
messed
saying?
up people in the world.
Once on me, shame on you, or what is that saying?
Fool me once, shame on me.
Yes.
Or as Bush said, it's like, fool me one time, shame on me. You fool me again, you can't fool me again.
Why am I thinking that he had a cigar? That was Bill Clinton. Okay.
You can't fool me again.
Yeah.
Oh, Bush.
Yeah, those were the days. Okay, well, so now are we going to move on to Edgar? Because, I mean, what more do we need to say about Carl? What do you see?
I mean, I just think it's very, him being who he was when you look back at it and like looking at his chart. It just makes so much sense that he was who he was. And that he was a pioneer, in many ways too,
Yeah.
as a Leo, and kind of took this lead role, and we still talk about him today.
Right.
He's very influential. He influenced so many people, which is very Leo, And then also being an Aquarius rising, maybe. Again, he could have been a Cap rising. It's not for sure if this is his actual time of birth. Well, you can say that.
I know, but when I looked at, I mean, it doesn't matter. They should just, if they don't know what the time is, then they should just put unknown. They shouldn't be rating it A, B. It's either like or whatever. They said it was rectified, so they're hoping. So I guess a rectification. Why even get a chart rectified if if it's not 100%? Please riddle me that.
It's the best you can do. But when you rectify, you ask a lot of questions to the person whose chart you're rectifying in a proper rectification. So you're really trying to get an understanding of who they are.
Yes,
and then
it's
you can
Eros
kind of
in his
slip
12th.
energy and move it around and then ask more questions and you can get close. But nothing,
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure somebody's got an exact rectification done, but you kind of just have to go off the feeling and hope that the client's being honest. Lana wants to know what's in the 12th. It's Eros.
It's Eros, right?
Yeah.
That's all, I guess, that he has in the 12th is just that. So he probably, having Eros in your 12th, and it's retrograde.
But it was ruled by Saturn. He had Saturn square Pluto. So, I mean, he built a business and a model of life and an identity around understanding the collective unconscious,
Yeah, and where's his...
Through philosophy, that trine to Jupiter.
his Eros and Psyche are trining.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I know. Did he have a good love life?
He had a very, they say that... no, we can't even get into that because it was very... look at all the Libra he has. Come on. South Node Libra. Come on.
Yeah.
He was married, and then of course,
I have a feeling he
had
had
an affair,
a very strong animus.
Yes, and he was very much
Or an anima. A very strong anima.
Yeah, I mean, and having Eros in your 12th, you're gonna feel like some type of like connection to like some type of soul connection to somebody.
Probably to a lot of people.
Right. Yeah. No, yeah, he had
Only to have
interesting.
your beliefs and your intuition shattered, that the person wasn't who you thought they were.
Everybody should watch the Fruit. It's called just, Freud, Freud. It's on Netflix. That is fascinating too.
I should watch that.
It's a good one.
All right. Well,
I'd watch that again. It is like, oh my God, like people come in their chair, like you think like literally they're going to, like when they're doing these experiments, like they get deep into that Anima and the animus and they're just like, is this person like possessed? Like what's going on here? Yeah. Like a lot of people too that they were getting into that were ones that God, if porn was around back then, yeah, they'd be out of control.
Lana said that he differed from Freud fundamental, or from Freud?
Yeah. Sigmund Freud.
He did differ. I remember reading something today when I was reading is that
they had a feud.
Sigmund Freud. Is that Freud believed that, a childhood that somebody lived really had a big effect on who they were as humans. Mm-hmm. And Jung didn't believe that.
Yeah.
He thought it was the past doesn't matter as much as we think it does. It's what's going on in the present,
right,
that really matters. So we can fall back and say the past and put blame on something. But
right.
He was more along the lines of the belief that like the past doesn't even exist anymore. It's just now, and how you understand the now is all that matters, and and all you have to worry about.
Well, yeah, because we're living in the now. Oh, that's funny. Freud was a Sun Taurus, Moon Gemini, Ascendant Scorpio, and Midheaven Leo. So see, no wonder they worked together, because his Midheaven was in Leo, and they were definitely meant to. And Sun and Taurus. Oh my God, they were Sun Moon.
Yeah.
They are fucking soulmates. Sun Moon. Wow, look at that. Maybe they got their groove on. You never know. And Ascendant Scorpio. What has he got in Scorpio? I don't know what all those asteroids are. I know
Pandora's box and Isis.
Yeah, I mean he's got Isis,
and this is
the 9th in Scorpio. That's strong.
Yeah, I don't know. Did he believe in astrology?
Who?
Carl Jung.
Yeah, I mean he believed in all of it.
Very nice.
How can you be in this work and not?
Oh, who knows?
Like that poor guy at the restaurant. What was he studying? Astronomy. And he's like,
that was funny.
Yeah, poor guy is a Cancer, and he was waiting on us the other night. And I don't know how it got brought up. Probably because it wasn't because I saw his Cancer tattoo, but we were like,
his little book that he took
he had stars and moon on his little
it had the constellations on it. And I was like, oh, hey, do you like astrology? And he was like, kinda. I used to like it, but my
teacher,
professor, but I'm in an astronomy class, and my professor
says it's pseudoscience and it's the devil.
Real. So I don't know anymore.
I was like, this poor guy. He seemed like he was very confused. God, he just got Saturn out of his 8th. Yeah, and we're like, keep going for your dreams, buddy.
I told him to just, remember to believe with believe what resonates with you. Not everybody somebody teaches you is going to be correct for you, but enjoy. Just make sure, if you like astrology, don't let some professor tell you not to. Don't go.
I'm just like,
that.
Honey, how conditioned are you?
Unless you need to.
Like, are you really going to listen to what you're listening to? What your teacher says? Okay.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do. Right?
Well,
listen to teacher.
Right. Yeah, and I was like, honey, take back your power. You're a Cancer. You're very sensitive, and you get it. Mm-hmm. But, Aliester? Oh, we're going to do Edgar. Oh, Edgar. Yeah, Edgar.
He's Pisces out.
He is Pisces out. God, if he was in these times. He's from Kentucky.
Yeah, the sleeping prophet.
Oh my gosh, and he does have it all like in the 7th. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, Leo rising though. Mm-hmm. Uranus on the ascendant.
Oh, now I would think that would
help him channel.
Yes,
that's right. Like big time channeling, having Uranus on the ascendant. Mm-hmm. And even a sun in the 8th and Pisces.
He's got a lot of Taurus too.
Yeah, he has a great reception. I mean, it's interesting. Him and Carl Jung, they both have a great like Moon-Venus combination. Mm-hmm. Moon exalted in Taurus, and then Venus exalted in Pisces. But that's also a very nice reception, even though the Moon isn't doesn't hold any home or exaltation in Pisces. It's still pretty nice to.
Where's his Chiron? Oh, Aries. Okay, yeah.
Well, yeah, they were born he was 2 years younger.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So they are like close and whatever. But he is South Node Virgo.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
In the first.
So it opposes look at it. Opposes his Mercury. Mm-hmm. And his Saturn. Well, and his Venus. It opposes all that. Yeah.
He's got that little, it's a nice little stellium with Venus, Saturn, Mercury. Mm-hmm. And the North Node even right there with Mercury. So again, he's another one that, gosh, North Node with Mercury and Pisces where, Mercury's at its fall position. It doesn't, operate the same. Mm-hmm. So he definitely used his mind for the abstract, the channeling, feeling, going into these deeper places where the universe was going to take him. And he was absolutely meant to do that. If he just focused on reality, he never would have been.
He was like a healer, too.
Well, yeah, that is the healing
like literally,
sure.
like he would heal people. Like, yes, he was psychic and he had all these dreams and whatever, but like literally he could heal people, which is so South Node Virgo. Like literally heal them. Like probably if they touched him, his energy, like... he was, yeah.
I wonder where his Reiki was.
Oh, yeah, you should look.
Do you remember by chance
what
number
it is
for Reiki?
No, but I can look it up.
Kind of curious.
Whoops.
I might be able to just find it. We'll see.
They have a Jung asteroid.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Reiki. 5239.
5239.
We got Bryan all into the asteroids now. Yeah, because wherever your Reiki is where you have healing abilities. Whatever house. And if it's touching other planets, that makes it even more strong.
Yeah, they actually don't have Reiki. I have so many asteroids now in this program, but they are missing a couple.
You said that they always have.
Oh, there's a lot though now. There's 8,162 available that I can use. That's a lot, but yeah, no Reiki. Well, anyways.
Yeah, well, moving on. I mean, besides the asteroids, but I'm sure that it was probably hitting some type of,
It was probably somewhere. We could look on
astro.com. You can go on,
but...
right. I guess I'll just do that. Well, talk about his chart, please, babe. Give them what they want to hear. Wait, what did I just say it was? I forgot. 5239?
Mm-hmm. Well, he had Pluto up on the midheaven, assuming, again, he doesn't have a AA rated Rodden either. So, anyways, he had Pluto up there by his midheaven, theoretically, in the 10th. So, definitely somebody who was here on a mission, been working and trying to, move the world, be recognized, come up with some kind of a value system that people would rely on. And maybe it was, getting back to intuition. Maybe it was getting back to the spiritual nature, the unseen, especially for him with all that Pisces and Pluto making great aspects to his sun, his Venus, and right at that midpoint between his sun and Venus, with the sextile, that there was a lot of value in the unseen. There's a lot of value in the sensitivities. There's a lot of value in, compassion. Like, you almost have to go to a really compassionate place with yourself and others to get into that space and to channel the way he did. So he also had Midas conjunct his moon.
What does Midas mean?
Midas is named for the king of ancient Phrygia, who may or may not have existed, but who has passed into the realm of myth because of his great wealth and greater greed. Everyone knows about the king with the golden touch, but the ability to transform everything Midas touches to the precious metal gold quickly turned
like the
from
Midas touch?
Exactly. Quickly turned from a blessing to a curse, and only after much suffering did the gods withdraw their gift and restore Midas to his ordinary humanity. The asteroid Midas can be a pointer to great wealth in the chart, but it can easily denote losses as gains, and is therefore very tricky to read. An important theme with Midas is the power of wishing wisely and well, and this asteroid seems to relate strongly to consequences of the choices we make. It does not seem to be an alchemical symbol relating to transformation on many levels. It does seem to be an alchemical symbol relating to transformation on many levels, both spiritual and material. The quality of personal intention seems to be important with Midas, and the fundamental integrity of whatever is desired and pursued.
He has Vertex and Reiki conjunct in Capricorn with his Mars. So Mars 11 cap, Vertex 11 cap, and then his Reiki's at 9.
Oh, wow.
So having Vertex Reiki, that's...
Yeah, and in great aspects with his Venus and his Saturn.
And his rising is on Regulus. Like, he's Regulus rising and a midheaven in Taurus. So his midheaven and his moon are conjunct, you know? Like, he definitely was, following his path. For sure. Because that was in the 9th house, his moon in midheaven. So, again, the 9th house, higher mind and, yeah.
Oh, you know what? He was like a big pusher of the existence of Atlantis.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Like he would channel Atlantis, which is interesting because
in Egypt, he was very into yes.
I do have Atlantis in here.
Somewhere. Oh, yeah, 1198.
That's Osiris. I'm pretty sure I have it on here.
Yeah. I always do Atlantis.
Oh, this is
Atlantis.
Just he had it at 21 cap.
Oh, yeah, see? Mm-hmm.
21 cap.
Yeah.
In the 5th. Yeah, it makes sense.
Right.
That he would have this love and bringing back hey, look, society, there's more that we don't know about. There was this, lost civilization. And being serious. He was probably dead serious. People were like, you're crazy. He's like, no. I channeled this.
It's probably I know that's what I used to think too, but fuck.
Yeah, he's one of the main people responsible for the notions about Atlantis.
Right. And telling them where I think what or pinpointing, but also a healer. Like people would take their kids or whatever to him to however he would heal them. Clearly through his energy. But
yeah.
Yeah,
it seems like he's a good fit with Jung, because Jung was talking about the collective unconscious, but yet, so, Jung was bringing up statistics and doing research.
And this one could tap into
this guy was just I'll go straight into the collective unconscious.
Right.
Which is very Uranian and very Neptunian. And he did have Neptune in the 9th.
Oh, I was going to bring that up, Ashley. You're absolutely right. He's got Uranus in the 12th. Wow, that's got to be a ride. Wow. That's wild.
Yeah.
Is he North Node?
He's North Node Pisces.
Okay,
with
right.
His Mercury.
North Node Pisces, but yeah, Uranus in the 12th?
What is also interesting about him and Jung is they both have no retrograde planets. Mm-hmm. All their planets are direct in both their charts.
I would agree with that, Lana. I said that about both of them, but they do have 8th house. And today I read a very interesting, I told Bryan, I went down a rabbit hole with, the difference between psychosis and psychic and schizophrenic and psychic. And wow, that was, it's if you have afflicted planets and if you have a lot of planets in the 12th, well, which I knew it was going to have to do with the 12th house or Neptune. Obviously, Pisces, Neptune in the 12th house. anything being in the 12th house or whatnot. But I don't know why I went down that rabbit hole, because I was really like, because I think a lot of people are, not most people, but there are a lot of people that,
He was such
mental
a
illness is a real thing. And sometimes the stuff that I hear, I'm just like, okay, are you sure that you're not in a state of like major psychosis or schizophrenia? Like, what are you channeling? Let's look at your chart.
It's funny. He was. They say according to someone named Shermer that Cayce was very fantasy prone.
Oh,
especially in his youth,
of course,
and talking with angels and receiving visions of his dead grandfather. Mm-hmm. Cayce was fond of expressions like "I feel that," perhaps. Mm-hmm. So he was just so Pisce'd out. I feel that. I'm just in a dream.
When you are that Pisce'd out, it's like I guess I can say you're like. I really think the only thing that saves me is my Mercury in Aquarius, because God, he had a Mercury in Pisces. I can't even imagine. I would probably be in psychosis. Because Pisces is more feeling, so you have to trust it, where Virgo is the fucking mind, and you're trying to say, no, this isn't real, and this is fucking crazy. And I know that too well because of the 6th, 12th house polarity, but like, yeah, it was probably he probably was like, what the fuck is going on? Even though he accepted it.
I think he accepted it, and I think he probably talked a lot about it. Usually people with Mercury and Pisces talk a lot. He does have Mercury with Saturn, so maybe not, but that sextile to the moon in Taurus, if he felt confident in what he felt, he was going to say it, Yeah. And it was like, no, this is legit. Like, he could probably go on and on about. I bet he had such, a beautiful memory.
Well, no, I think that honestly,
like retaining dreams.
I would rather have be like, fuck, this shit's so crazy, I'm just gonna go out of my body. I'd rather have that, and just because he probably too was not. He helped a lot of people, and he was obviously in the public eye to whatever extent, but he probably really liked to actually not be alone, to himself in some way, Yes, Ashley, the thing that I read was about a psychologist who also studied, psychology, astrology. It's I think that the two now in this day and age should be combined together, because it is a real thing.
Mm-hmm. He had a Pluto-Uranus square.
Oh.
Tight one.
That is
which Uranus was his only retrograde planet. So I said they were all direct a second ago, but that's wild, So much needs to kind of come out from that unseen place.
Yeah.
And not be repressed. That was how he found his identification, his connection was through the expression, and he had Saturn and Mercury, so it was probably hard at some point in his life to get that out, but I think he knew he had to, and that was part of the destiny, and part of the bigger picture of what he was supposed to bring was so much of that collective unconscious channeled through himself to others, so that he could show people a reflection of something they couldn't see.
Oh, absolutely, almost and I guess a mirror to their unconscious. Yeah, no, right. This guy's a channeler for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because when we decided to do this tonight, I was like, yeah, let's not do, we want to switch it up, right? So it's we could do synastry all day and composite and all of that. It's fascinating. But I was why don't we, the first person I wanted to do, which we will do him, is Tyler Henry, that medium, the young guy that's all over E and everything. Oh my gosh, he is such a vibe. I love him. And he is and we've looked at his chart and you're well, no wonder. He's got so much Uranus energy. And so that dude's, a channeler too. So that's who we wanted to do. But then I was just no, let's do, because I wanted to do it focusing on their gifts, like activations of their psychic activations, like showing, all of you, and then we obviously learn too, like, certain placements or whatnot that could, because people ask me all the time, like, what are psychic, things in your chart? Placements or whatnot, which could be many things, I mean, you might not have any, but then you might have a stacked 8th house or a stacked 12th house. And if it's not negatively, right, a 9th house, if it's not negatively afflicted, then it's...
I mean, all that Pisces, sun in the 8th.
Right. Yeah. And I keep forgetting that.
He does have the moon, it's 9 degrees away from Neptune. Moon Neptune's one of the most psychic connections you can have. Very in depth. And even the way it connects, his moon connects with sextiles to his Venus, Saturn, and Mercury, in Pisces. There was something like he just really grounded actually in the ethereal, in the spiritual, and in his visions and in what he saw.
He probably was an activator for people's like spiritual awakening and awareness, or like whatever, like, to be quite honest too, like like his energy was activating. Like, even if people are like, oh, you're fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah,
and
he was
this
a
and that,
transformer.
they probably like went home and were like, wow, that actually, did activate me in some way. Just by his energy, and obviously what, and again, this is at a time when, obviously this was going on, and maybe, I mean, I don't know. I feel like people back then were way more like, well, at different times, but, spiritually, like into the esoteric and all of that. Now that's so, demonized. So they were like, even though it was back then too, you know what I mean? Obviously with church and all that stuff, but there was a lot of that went on, like, occult practice and
especially at this
channeling.
time. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, to look at these 3 like influential figures in occult, spirituality, philosophy, all, really were brought to this planet at the same time pretty much. Because, Jung was 75 and Crowley was 75. And Cayce was the younger of the two, but he's 77. But yeah, there's something about that time that really... And I don't know exactly what that was. Maybe it was the Pluto-Uranus that was squaring over those years. Maybe it was Pluto.
We have somebody in the... Where is what's-her-face when we need the moderator? Oh, my gosh. Oh, no.
Oh, just let people say what they're going to say.
No, I know, but it's like this person's going to infiltrate the chat, and I don't want everybody else to be, like, disrupted. I don't care. I'm not going to look at it, but...
I don't even know. But...
Oh, well, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Right.
So... I don't know.
We're going to be doing charts all the time.
I don't know if there's too much more that I have to say.
No, it's not you at all. This is me being psychic. Like, I can tell energy when it gets in the chat, and I'm like, no. And I'm not going to call out who it is. It's, I think, kind of obvious. No, it's not. It's nobody that's been in here for the past 30 minutes. I just don't go for that. Like, no, thank you. But I love, everybody that's in here. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I've seen this person in the high vibe chat go crazy. So that's how I know. Yeah. Anyways. No, it's not you, Lana.
Ganesha is an interesting point. It's at 12 Sag, which is square his nodal axis. So the asteroid Ganesha... or Ganesh, or it's actually Ganesha, but it's named for Ganesha, and it's one of the most popular Hindu gods, right?
And he's like associated with Jupiter.
Yep, and the god is a patron of the arts and sciences, and is also honored as the remover of obstacles. Although he is also credited with creating obstacles from time to time, the asteroid Ganesha needs much more research, of course, but early signs are that it is a tremendous power in the chart, and it should not be ignored. It seems to be a symbol of the organizing power of consciousness and the skill or lack thereof we each bring to our lives in this regard. The closest aspect made by Ganesha can be a swift shortcut to understanding where the blockages or obstacles are, both in the psyche and in the material life. So interesting that his nodes in Virgo and Pisces square this. Wild.
Ganesha.
Those energies meshing with the energy of Ganesha seem to either flow very well or fail to flow at all. Instead, they can go seriously awry. Most of the time, there is work to do where Ganesha goes, a work involving deep self-knowledge, a willingness to face the temptations of drifting or doing nothing, and the willingness to utilize whatever strategies will set one free from any kind of bondage, especially bondage of the ego.
I love the card with Ganesha on it. It's the Ascendant Master deck. And yeah, he says yes. I love when he pops out. Or I don't know, am I showing it right?
You need to cover your face.
Why?
Here, I'll do it. Why? Because it's facial recognition on the autofocus, so it keeps us crisp. That's why. That's why. So crispy.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyways, that Ganesha 12 Sag is very interesting. Squares his Mercury, squares his Saturn, squares his Venus, squares his nodal axis, opposes his Isis.
Yeah.
Like, then Sag, right? Like, Sag is intuition. It is belief. It's channeling. It's something more. It's deeper philosophy. It's not so linear. It's not so small. It's going bigger and beyond. And that was exactly what he did.
Very much so.
Like, he went so Pisces, which he was really meant to go very, very Pisces in this life.
Yeah, he was definitely living out his chart for sure.
Yeah, and you can tell that by channeling and bringing that wisdom out, that it probably brought him a lot of, like, the material stuff he needed.
Yeah.
And also, it helped and provided that great service. So.
Oh my gosh, you guys, that's not even the person I was talking about, but look, now he got another one. Gosh, you gotta love YouTube, right?
It's the beauty of YouTube.
Yeah, I gotta love those AI bots.
I don't think anybody's in AI.
Well, no, nobody that's been in the chat since we joined. This all happened within the past, 5 minutes.
My channel's not big enough to have just AI bots floating around. But people can say what people want to say.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, let's move on to Crowley. What card? What are you pulling over there?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just shuffling. I'm not pulling anything. I just wanted to show that Ganesha card, so.
So Crowley's a trip. Another 1875, like we pointed out. Like, so interesting. So much of this happened during those 2 years.
Aleister.
So Aleister Crowley, people...
He has no 12th house either. Look at that.
It's ruled by his moon, though. He's got the moon in Pisces.
Yeah, he's
with
got a lot
Lucifer.
of Oh, geez, yeah. Oh, at the 29th degree.
Yeah, with Lucifer.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. That moon's square Mars. Mars in Capricorn. So, it's interesting because he is such a polarizing figure, and he did a lot for the occult. He, of course, founded the religion that was called Dilemma.
Yeah.
So he kind of put himself in this cult position, which again is very ninth house, having his 12th house ruler in the ninth with Lucifer, which he did do some satanic stuff for a little bit, especially with that one guy who had that house in San Francisco. Who was that guy?
Yeah. I know. I can't remember
his name. He ran the church
name.
of the Satanic Church.
Yeah, that guy was wild.
Yeah,
oh
so
my
interesting
God.
that Crowley had connections there. And,
Me too.
So he went into all these different realms. I mean, he went very deep into the occult. And
Look at everybody saying they wish that. I was expecting the same thing. I thought they all would have way more 12th house too. But this is why it's good to show this, because then it shows the aspects. Because this guy he had his Mercury in Scorpio. He had some, it's right here. Boom, boom.
Yeah, got it.
Both?
All of it.
Okay, good. All right, guys. We're back in our loving chat. We got rid of the...
I put him on timeout.
Yeah, timeout for those two.
Just take a timeout.
Right.
Oh
my gosh, I can't think of the dude's name, and then that house, the Waverly House or whatever it was that
the
they
Wizards
were doing.
of Waverly Place?
No, what's that?
Oh, I don't know. No, they're chill.
No.
Yeah, they're chill.
Okay.
Chillin'. So yeah, and then having 12th house ruler badly afflicted, or actually not square, sorry, sextile with Mars, and even he has Mars Eros same place as Jung. Kind
Oh
of funny.
yeah.
Um,
And the
having that Mars
six.
influence brings that sexuality too, because Crowley did some crazy stuff with sexuality too. Like he
Yeah,
went
but he was very.
so 8th house.
When I watched the thing on him, it was a thing on Gaia that somebody, he was
Oh yeah,
very misunderstood.
I agree.
Very. And
His astrology books were like
yeah,
really good.
yeah, the
The
ones
way
that
he
you
brought
have,
up
I read.
the way he channeled Neptune and Uranus, extremely fascinating.
He wasn't going into one either. He was like, he wanted to experience all of it. And obviously, sure, maybe some of the people that he experienced it with were probably not the best, but that was just part of his path. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, and in a whole sign house chart, all that Pisces, his moon, Lucifer, Sappho, and Fortuna would all be in his eighth. So it's interesting that it does have that correlation to his eighth house, and he had a lot of like Scorpio. He had Jupiter and Mercury conjunct in Scorpio too.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's like even though he doesn't
So,
have any like 12th or 8th, he
was
had
such
that
an occultist.
Yeah, Jupiter, Mercury, and what's that? What is that asteroid?
That is Volcano.
Oh, okay. And then Sun. I know. I find it so wild that he was a Sun Libra.
Oh, and Venus
I
in
think
Libra?
that's more like wild. He was a Sun Venus Libra. Like what?
Yeah, that is interesting, huh?
Yeah, and he is South Node. Who else was South Node Libra? That was Jung. Okay, so they're obviously not far apart in their like times or whatever.
No, because Jung was born just a little, like what, 2.5 months previous? He was a 2 degree or 3 degree Leo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Jung was born July 26th and Crowley was October 12th. So, yeah, very, very similar outer placements.
Mm-hmm.
But where Jung had Mars in Sag at 21 degrees, that was a big difference. Crowley had it in Capricorn, where it's exalted and making big aspects to the moon, which gave him a lot of that like drive, and especially with his moon in the ninth, like he created a religion, made people drink the juice. I think it's so funny how people have that gift to just make people drink the juice, and a lot of it to me really does come from like Jupiter and ninth house. Like they have some way of like preaching to people, like follow me, I know the way.
I should read that thing about.
But he did. I mean, Aleister Crowley did do a lot of deep occult work to figure things out.
I'm going to show them the book. But keep talking. I'm
He also.
not going to read anything out of it. I'm just going to show.
He also had a yod to his Venus from Pluto Moon sextile to his Venus, and just that Pluto Moon sextile is extremely deep and psychic. And even having a moon in Pisces, I mean, this guy felt everything. He picked up all sorts of energy, whether it was from a human or from some other being. Like, there's no boundaries to feeling when it comes to a moon in Pisces, especially in the ninth. It's over, exacerbated or amplified in many ways. And especially to his depth, the soul energy of Pluto. He could really tap into that energy, and then it made the yod to his Venus, which again, I think his Libra stuff came through how he, talked to people and got people to follow. He's probably pretty, I don't know. I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard that he was kind of pompous, kind of hard to get along with.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he probably did have some sort of charisma as a Leo rising with a Sun and Venus. Oh yeah,
what degree is that
in
at?
Libra? 5.
5.
That he probably did. He brought some charisma to the scene for sure. That probably helped people, join in on what he was doing. Get involved.
Well, and it's just kind of like what we talked about. With like other. I mean, I feel like Charles Manson is being like extreme, but you know what I mean? We're just saying like these, Lana, you said this, I think when we were doing Charles Manson, that intense personalities, right? People, it doesn't matter what you look like, whatever, like people are magnetized by this intense, and like in this book, okay, I don't know. I might have shown you guys this last time, but I have to give Cosmic Space Witch credit, Allie, for this because she's always like sharing books. It's called Bernadette Brady's Books of Fixed Stars. This book is I haven't even been able to like wrap my head around all of it, and it's like, you know, it has well, whatever, they did Hitler in here and all of this, the big stars that he's got. And when I read his portion of it, it was like basically because Hitler, he started out good and then he, well, we know, but he was not that in the beginning. And it shows in this like case study that she does in here, he had like, to have all the royal stars that he did, it was like, right, his rise. And then of course, like he just wanted to keep going more, but it said like the unconscious, like his conscious unleashing it out to the unconscious. And that's where it was like destructive. And a dictionary of, a dictionary of symbols. I don't know. I just Googled this book. It was like super cheap. It is amazing because Ali also recommended the Cosmic Space Witch, recommended this one too. Oh my god, it was like $8 on Amazon. So good. But this is like fascinating, just because then because fixed stars and like Bohemian stars and like whatever, like star, that's where you really find your like star seed placements, your fucking galactic energy. And if they are making aspects to planets and points and whatever, it is like it's very powerful. So that's why they are very important, I feel like, for everybody to go down a rabbit hole with or whatnot. It's like very it's fascinating. I'm going to find this one part, though, and just read. Wait, let me just find it really fast. And I just want to read this part because I don't know. I don't know why this speaks to me, but it does. I mean, we already know the history of, we're back in the times of Hitler. Isn't that what everybody keeps saying?
Yeah.
Right. Like in the outside world.
Coming into Gemini.
Right. I mean, like for, I guess, the 3D or whatever. Yeah, you guys have to get this book. It's so amazing.
We'll put the titles in the description when we're done.
Yeah, just in case you don't. Okay, I can wait. Just talk about his chart. I gotta find it. I don't want to just like sit here and,
Oh, yeah, I was thinking about his Mars, too, because it does square his Venus, and it does square his Sun, and, his Sun's not very strong. It is with a strong Venus, but that Sun's in its fall position, and Mars is strong, so, I mean, that probably gave him the brashness, or the harshness, or the edge that people probably didn't, care for too much. I think that he really wanted to provide a service to people, but he wanted to do it his way. And if they didn't believe him or, think that he made sense or that he was, being a proper, like, I don't know, negotiator or delegator of his information, like, he probably was like, you're an idiot. He was probably a little harsh and, maybe lacked a little bit of compassion. Maybe that's why it's hard to see him as a Libra. It's because that Mars square, I feel like he does come off, from what I've seen and heard about him, more actually Capricorn. Or even Cancer, being a fourth house Sun and Venus, because Cancers can be that way too. Cancers, can be extremely harsh if they, if their comforts are tested or they want to put the shell up. Cancers can be pretty ruthless.
If they don't want their blanket.
Yeah, if they don't have their blankie and their teddy and their,
I feel like that's like
comfy,
I want my blanket
and their comfort food.
I want my body pillow. And my neck pillow. I want it all. And my moon pod. I just want to be cozy. So I can relate to that Cancer energy. I just say that because didn't you guys keep saying that on the last Spiritual Daddy last week? Everybody's like, yeah, the Cancer reading was awesome. And David totally was like, oh, you guys need your blankie.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
It was
and
funny.
people loved it. I was like, oh, I thought that they were going to like be offended.
I mean, you gotta take jokes.
Well, of course. I mean, let's...
So Crowley also had the Saturn opposition to Uranus. He also had Saturn in Uranus's home sign and also Saturn's home sign. Another interesting one, like, and square Pluto. So Pluto squaring is Uranus, squares Saturn, big T square to that. There's something about the Uranus-Saturn opposition that is like, he just had to rebel. And it's funny because he did kind of like rebel against his family from a young age and turned down their Christian beliefs and just said, I'm going to go do my own thing and find my own, path, my own way. And he did that young, which is interesting too. And that's probably where, again, that Mars square to his sun and Venus and Libra, he's just like, no, I'm definitely not here to just be like you want me to be. Like, I'm here to define my way. And also, show a different way for the collective too. Pluto in the 11th. Definitely like a trendsetter, so he was a very influential person in occult sciences. And I think too, his Mercury and Jupiter were they played a huge role in that because they're in Scorpio. So it's just, again, like having to go into dark spaces. Forgot I wasn't sharing the chart. Having to go into dark spaces to come out on the other side. He had to go hang out with the, founder of the Church of Satan. He had to go into all these different realms.
Well, that guy was way
to get all
crazier.
the information, to get as deep as he needed to get, so that he could, figure out how to build the foundation of what he wanted to teach and really build a religion on. And he also had North Node in the 9th, so of course he built a religion.
I can't believe I guess I'm not meant to. This is so weird. It's like, did somebody just come and like secretly remove it? Am I not? I guess the universe doesn't want me to read it. It would have been where all the Taurus stuff is, because that's where it doesn't say, Hitler. I don't know, but it is fascinating. Maybe I should just go to Algol, because maybe that's where it was at. But yeah.
He went to Egypt and claimed to be a prince, and that him and his wife were a prince and princess.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Aliester did?
Yeah. The equinox of the gods has come, is what he was saying.
Yeah,
he thought it was
wow.
important that the exhibit's number was 666, the mark of the beast.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they were.
He even wrote a book called 777, which I have actually.
Mm-hmm. Didn't he write a lot of books?
He did. He did.
I know. It's, gosh, this is so crazy, because I'm telling you, I had this marked down and I was reading this to somebody, and it's almost like the pages have just been removed, which, I mean, they haven't, but, well, I just don't know. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's right in front of my face and I've been passing it. Oh, look at it. It says Sigmund Freud was born on the day that Alcyone culminated with Mercury. The insightful but at times judgmental energy of Alcyone was linked to Freud's ideas and writings, indicating that he had great insights into his chosen subject. The star culminating means that his inner vision and insight was expressed in his adulthood, the prime of his life. I just saw that, so I decided to share since we were... my midheaven's on Alcyone. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna find it. It's about you-know-who. But I just found it it just stood out to me out of everything in this book. And I guess what I'm getting at with this is because we're like, gosh, how can people spell people and like get them to drink the juice or go kill people or whatever, polarizing personalities or intense energy, like Lana had said. well, this is, this
Yeah, the
all
Thoth
plays.
deck is good. He was one of the biggest proponents of magic, and he spelt it with
Yeah,
a
I was going to
K.
say he seems more magic. Yes,
He brought
with a
the
K.
magic with a K back, and was always saying magic with a C is imitation. So props to Crowley for bringing all that back, and of course he was very big into the Rosicrucians, astrology. He just got
Yeah, he
it.
kind
And
of
even
just did
Tantra.
all of it. Right.
Yeah, that's his Mars in Capricorn Tantra.
Oh, is that? I didn't know that would be a Mars in Capricorn.
Oh yeah, Mars in Cap is yeah, sex is a big deal for Mars in Cap. And especially with the Scorpio he had.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I really don't understand. I feel like I'm being punked here.
He's the one who chose to spell magic with a C. It's so funny. He believed in the objective existence of magic, which he chose to spell Magick, which I still spell it that way now on, but yeah, he would say that was the real magic and not the imitation.
Oh, maybe this is where I can find it.
Sexuality played an important role in Crowley's ideas about magic and his practice of it, and has been described as being central to Thelema. He outlined 3 forms of sex magic: the autoerotic, the homosexual, and the heterosexual, that argued that such acts could be used to focus the magician's will onto a specific goal, such as financial gain or personal creative success. For Crowley, sex was treated as a sacrament, with the consummation of sexual fluids interpreted as a Eucharist. Eucharist, I guess. This was often manifested as the cakes of light, a biscuit containing either menstrual blood or a mixture of semen and vaginal fluids. The Gnostic Mass is the central religious ceremony within Thelema.
Okay, I found it. We're going to have a little story time. I found it. I guess I was probably passing it the whole time. So, this is what this amazing lady that breaks all of these stars down in such a it's amazing. It's mind-blowing. Obviously, she does, we're doing a chart. This was her case study of her chart. So, Adolf Hitler. To modern society, Hitler represents the face of evil and fascism, and for the reason is a good example with which to begin, since we would expect to see difficult stars in his chart. Hitler was born on April 20th, 1889 at 5:37 p.m. in, I can't pronounce that, Braun something, Austria. The following is fixed star, blah, 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 and list of 64 stars delineated in this text. The parons have not been applied to Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, or the nodes. So it's called, I don't even think I need to go into all this because it's helical rising, culminating, and setting. And it says that, setting a star, setting as a planet on the same or another angle, culminating a star, culminating as a planet is on the same or another angle, rising, a star rising on the ascendant as a planet in on the same or another angle. And yeah. And then on the Nadar, a star on the IC as a planet is on the same on the other angle. Aldebaran, Taurus on the Nadar is Saturn set. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Looking at this list of stars, the first point to note is that number of powerful stars presents Fomalhaut and Aldebaran, 2 of the royal stars of Persia, and Vega, the great star of Orpheus's lair. And linked to all this power are 3 of the most difficult stars in the sky: Algol, the head of the Gorgon, the ruthless face of the Archer, and Menachar, the terrifying energy of the collective unconscious, unleashing its This is what got me. Because there's a lot of spiritual gurus or whatever, or whoever, that this is what got me. The terrifying energy of the collective unconscious unleashing its expression into the conscious world. And that's where you get people to, I'm gonna follow you. So, It is not unusual for a chart to pick up a relationship with any one of these stars, but these three combined with the power-giving potential of the royal stars makes for a very unusual and potentially formidable combination. And so this is the part that I'll read because she goes through like the beginning of his life, the middle of his life, and the end. But I found this where I was like, okay. The later part of Hitler's life, the stars setting, the symbolism of these stars will be expressed in the later part of his life, in his old age or at the end of his life. They are the summation or results of his life work. As we know, Hitler did not live past the war and died in his mid-50s. So he would have been only approaching the expression of his setting stars. Algol with curtailed patches set as his sun was on the Nadar. This is the head of the Gorgon, considered by many astrologers to be the most evil star in the sky, and it is linked to his sun. Hitler is seen as evil, or at one with the Gorgon, the beast, the thing to be feared. His Mercury and Venus are linked to Devanola, the star in the tail of Leo. Devanola represents going against society, being out of step, and it is in a phase of curtailed passage. Hence, its meaning is emphasized. As the war drew to a conclusion, Hitler was starting to lose power. His followers were starting to see his ideals and dreams as incorrect or out of step, and the magic spell of his orrery was breaking down. So it goes to show in your chart the rising of it, the setting of it, there's all this crazy math to it. But it makes sense. He had all these powerful stars that in the beginning, they were rising. And then people were like, well, yeah, we don't fucking resonate with what you got going on. But he still unleashed, what did it say? The unconsciousness into the consciousness. And they were just like, yes, absolutely. And I mean, he was probably, listen, I don't know. I mean, was Hitler an attractive man? I mean, I don't know. I've never really said. He always had that like crazy stash.
Oh, the Hitler stash?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure that was a vibe back in the day. But it wasn't
a mustache named after him.
I mean, it wasn't about his looks. It was about he probably when
he got up there with a huge amount of charisma.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just was like, hi. I mean,
and he could just sell it. So that's where it's like you have to be discerning of anybody that it's like, do I fucking resonate with?
A brief second from time to time.
Oh, reconnection. We're connected.
I've noticed this when playing Call of Duty. It'll just
and Hitler did like a lot of weird shit, like had bull semen injected, and he was into the cult. He was fucking all around with the cult. Mm-hmm. Clearly, I mean that's still going on today. Like not with him, but in people of, the elite or whoever. Maybe I should give us a card. What do the Ascendant Masters have to say to us? But
yeah, pull a card.
Yeah, you guys haven't. Yeah, this deck's.
Now it's back.
Well, can we just tell them bye at least if it's gonna keep doing that?
Yeah, we're back now.
Oh.
I don't know why it's
Can you guys see us?
No, it's not picking up.
And something happened, yeah. Yeah, it crashed my iPad.
It might come back here.
It's back.
It's
It
back.
is? You can see us? Can you see us? Oh, you're on your phone.
All right, let's see if it'll bring us back in. All right. Should bring us back in now.
Oh, yeah, because, yeah.
Let's see. It'll show up here if we get going again.
Oh, yeah, because does it need to be green?
You can see us? Oh, good. Yeah, it got all messed up for a second.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think my OBS just, like, crashed.
Pavarti and Osiris were the cards that came out, but we'll just, like, do a new shuffle. The highest white light of protection, no interferences with what we need to show the soul tribe. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming.
No, it's good now.
Such viewers will experience. Meditate. Buddha. We need to meditate. I definitely need to do that.
Me too.
Yeah. That's what all of the people that I watch on Gaia. Oh, I love Horus. Is it Horus? You are seeing the situation correctly. That we need to meditate, because I said we need to meditate, and it says so we need to meditate, guys. Here, can you show it to where? Gosh, I just never. Oh, there. Yeah, look at Horus. So we need to meditate. It is like they're saying. All right. Can you clarify how we need to meditate, Ascendant Masters? Uh-oh, did one flip over? Oh,
That one
boom, peace offering. White buffalo calf woman.
Gotta give a peace offering.
Oh, close my face. Should I just go like this?
Yeah. Oh,
Still
my
doesn't
face.
Do it. I don't know. It's so
gonna
weird.
It's
Why
gonna pick
wouldn't
a
it
face.
just focus?
It's gonna pick a face and focus on that. Because that's what I have it set to.
Oh, ow. I just put my head on. And focus upon your strengths, Apollo. Yeah, so we definitely need to meditate, focus upon our strengths. I don't know. Maybe we need to make a peace offering to ourselves to not put up with any,
Make a peace offering to OBS for cutting the stream out on us.
I feel like, too, like how it... Literally, I was like, yeah, we need to meditate. And then Horus is like, you're seeing that correctly. And it is Pisces season. So I feel like if we actually did get into that space, however, meditation can be many things. We probably really could connect to, and Mercury's in Pisces. I mean, there's so much in Pisces now.
I meditated when we were in Joshua Tree. And I've been meditating a little bit, like, here and there. I've been having the best visuals.
Oh yeah, you said that. Mm-hmm.
I've ever had in meditation, like the most just vivid, realistic looking moments that I haven't really been able to understand what the point is, because it's not like I'm just talking to somebody in it. It's like a setting, and I don't know exactly what it means yet.
Well, to
but
me,
the setting is so real. And then if I'm not going and seeing some very vivid, realistic thing, I mean, I'm just getting the coolest transcendental
well, your 12th house is so activated right now.
And it's just everything's just spinning very beautifully with a lot of color.
Yeah, to me it's like you're describing
practical.
A kaleidoscope.
Yeah, it reminds me of a DMT trip.
I've never done that.
It's great.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I feel like, I don't know. I'd want to go meditate out in nature.
Yeah, I meditated under the moon last weekend. It's great.
Yeah. Like somewhere, I don't know.
Cold,
somewhere where there's not going to be anybody, because I feel like every time we go outside somewhere, there's I don't know. We tried to film a horoscope the other day, and it was I'm like, yeah, there's going to be some people around. And then there wasn't, but right when
I turned the camera on, bikes just came down with speakers on their bikes, and it was like, wow, this trail's popping now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, I lost interest, just too much going on.
Oh yeah, and then today I have been into nature. I was again, checking out the bees the other day.
Repotting plants.
Yeah, I was I've been very green. Yeah, because I don't want the money tree to die. I had to bring him back to life. It likes humid. It likes tropical, conditions, and we're definitely in very cold conditions right now. Mm-hmm. The bees are there. I think that they have a hive though too. There's something, I don't know what's going on with the bees, but I don't want to tell anybody at the apartment complex, because I'm afraid they'll just kill them, which they should just move them.
I think the bees will find their way.
But I think it's weather. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, all the things.
It's a weird time for the bees.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, it's cutting out again. We're done.
All right. Well, we love you guys. It keeps cutting out. We love you. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry about,
Yeah, I don't know what OBS
this.
hates me right now.
Yeah, there's some, infiltrating. But we love you guys, and we'll see you next week. And yeah, always put in the comments suggestions of, I don't know, what you guys